Welcome back to our channel. Today we take a deep dive into the remarkable life of Jane Fonda, the actress, activist, and fitness icon who defined an era. Known to many as Barbarella, Jane Fonda's legacy extends far beyond her roles on screen. With over 40 films and 2 Academy Awards to her name, she became a symbol of Hollywood glamour, resilience, and activism. But behind the spotlight is a woman who faced personal tragedy, battled insecurities, and stood firmly for her beliefs, often at great personal cost. From her early life as the daughter of legendary actor Henry Fonda, to her transformation into a global activist and cultural icon, Jane Fonda's story is as riveting as it is inspiring. Join us as we uncover the untold chapters of her life, her controversies, relationships, and her enduring impact on Hollywood and beyond. Early life Jane Fonda, born on December 21st, 1937, was practically destined for the spotlight, growing up in a family filled with talent and prestige. Her father, Henry Fonda, was not just any actor. He was a towering figure in Hollywood, known for his timeless performances and remarkable dedication to his craft. Her mother, Frances Ford Seymour, brought elegance and sophistication to the Fonda name as a celebrated socialite. Together they created a legacy that would later see Jane stepping into a world filled with both opportunity and immense pressure. From an early age, Jane seemed to embody the quintessential blend of beauty, intellect, and ambition. But she was never one to settle for being merely a Hollywood princess. By the 1960s, she had already begun to carve her own path, appearing in a series of films that not only showcased her talent, but also reflected the socio-political undercurrents of the time. It wasn't just about the roles she played, it was the bold statements behind them. Jane wasn't afraid to take on characters that challenged societal norms, and her career became a testament to her willingness to push boundaries, both on and off the screen. Her artistry did not go unnoticed. Jane Fonda won not just one, but 2 Academy Awards, cementing her status as one of the most gifted actresses of her generation. Yet, these accolades were only part of her multifaceted career. Beyond acting, she became a cultural icon through her ventures into fitness, a realm she revolutionized with her series of exercise videos. Between 1982 and 1995, these videos became a phenomenon, inspiring millions of people to embrace health and wellness. For many, Jane wasn't just a star, she was a role model, embodying strength, vitality, and determination. Family and tragedy. The Fondas may have seemed like Hollywood's golden family, but behind the glamour was a deeply personal pain that shaped their lives. While Henry Fonda was celebrated as one of the silver screen's most respected actors, and young Jane was growing up under the glow of her family's reputation, a shadow loomed over their seemingly idyllic life. Jane's mother, Frances Ford Seymour, battled a mental condition that took an immense toll on her well-being and the entire family dynamic. Despite her glamorous image as a socialite, Frances was quietly enduring an inner turmoil that few outside the family truly understood. The heartbreak came to a devastating climax in 1950, when Frances tragically took her own life while seeking treatment at Craig House Psychiatric Hospital. For Jane, who was just a young girl at the time, this was more than the loss of a mother. It was a seismic event that would ripple through her entire life. The tragedy not only left a void in her childhood, but also forced her to confront emotions of grief, confusion, and guilt at an age when most children are shielded from such complexities. This loss became a pivotal turning point for Jane. It shaped the woman she would become, instilling in her a sense of resilience and a drive to find her own voice amidst the silence left by her mother's absence. Many believe that the emotional weight of this tragedy fueled Jane's later pursuits, her bold activism, her passionate performances, and even her ability to connect with audiences on a deeply human level. The loss of her mother taught her early on that appearances can be deceiving, and this awareness likely informed the empathy and depth she brought to her roles, her causes, and her interactions with the world. Path to acting. Growing up in the shadow of her father, the legendary Henry Fonda, Jane was no stranger to the world of performance and the dedication it demanded. As a child, she often watched her father refine his craft, immersing herself in the behind-the-scenes magic of storytelling and acting. Witnessing his precision and commitment left an indelible impression on her young mind, sparking a dream to one day step into the world of acting herself. However, as much as her heart yearned to follow in his footsteps, Jane was plagued by a deep sense of insecurity and self-doubt. In her eyes, she could never live up to the towering standards set by her father. The comparison was inevitable, and Jane struggled to see her own potential amidst the shadow of such greatness. Her dreams felt distant and unattainable until a pivotal encounter with one of the most revered figures in the acting world, director Lee Strasberg. Known for his ability to unlock hidden talent through his method acting techniques, Strasberg not only recognized Jane's abilities, but also gave her something she had long been searching for: validation. According to Jane, this meeting was nothing short of transformative. Strasberg's words, telling her she had real talent, were more than just a compliment. They were a lifeline. For the first time, someone outside of her family had acknowledged her abilities and believed in her potential. This wasn't just anyone either. Strasberg was a figure of immense authority in the acting community, and his belief in her ignited a confidence that had long been buried under layers of self-doubt. This moment became a turning point in Jane's life and career. Strasberg's mentorship not only gave her the tools to hone her craft, but also the courage to embrace her dreams fully. His validation acted as a catalyst, transforming her insecurities into a driving force to prove herself. It was under his guidance that Jane began to see herself not just as Henry Fonda's daughter, but as an individual with her own voice and talent, capable of carving out her own legacy. Political activism. Jane Fonda's journey as a political activist is nothing short of extraordinary, and it has become a central part of her identity. Over decades, she has fearlessly spoken out against injustices, using her platform not just to entertain, but to enlighten and provoke change. Her unwavering commitment to activism has sparked both admiration and controversy, making her one of the most talked about Hollywood figures to this day. Her activism began in the 1960s during a period of immense social upheaval. Jane dove into the civil rights movement early on, setting the stage for her fearless activism that would follow. She stood alongside leaders who were risking everything for racial equality, proving that her privilege as a Hollywood star wouldn't deter her from confronting uncomfortable truths. Fans at the time were inspired by her bravery, seeing her not just as an actress, but as someone unafraid to fight for justice. News outlets were quick to pick up on her involvement, dubbing her a voice of change for her generation. However, it was her outspoken stance on the Vietnam War that catapulted her activism into the global spotlight. Winning the Oscar for Clute, Jane famously used her acceptance speech to highlight the immorality of the war, a move that shocked many but resonated deeply with those opposed to the conflict. Not content with symbolic gestures, she traveled to Hanoi to document the human cost of the war. This visit, while incredibly controversial, showcased Jane's willingness to take bold risks to support her beliefs. She was labeled a traitor by some, while others saw her as a hero. Fans flooded her with letters of support, praising her courage to stand against the mainstream narrative. At the same time, major news outlets debated her actions, solidifying her role as a polarizing figure in both Hollywood and politics. The 1970s saw Jane expand her activism to include a wide array of issues. She publicly supported the Black Panthers, standing by them during a time when they were vilified by the media. Additionally, she used her voice to advocate for Native American rights, amplifying a cause that was often overlooked. Her actions earned her admiration from marginalized communities, many of whom saw her as an ally willing to use her privilege to fight for their causes. Fans at the time flooded interviews and screenings with questions about her activism, showing how her career and her advocacy were now inseparable. Even as the years passed, Jane's activism never wavered. In the early 2000s, she joined protests against American involvement in Iraq. Fans praised her for remaining steadfast in her principles, proving that her passion for justice was not a phase, but a lifelong commitment. Her environmental advocacy later became a defining part of her work, with Fonda leading climate protests and participating in civil disobedience to raise awareness about the climate crisis. Images of her being arrested during protests went viral, with fans and younger generations lauding her as a fearless symbol of resistance. Social media exploded with hashtags like #JaneFondaForever, showcasing her continued relevance and impact across generations. Jane Fonda's activism has also been a constant topic for media outlets worldwide. Headlines have alternated between celebrating her bravery and criticizing her boldness. But one thing remains clear: she gets people talking. Documentaries, interviews, and retrospectives on her life often emphasize her ability to inspire change while enduring public scrutiny. Fans have described her as an icon for those who dare to care, and younger activists cite her as an inspiration for using their own platforms to advocate for justice. Controversies. The 1970s were a tumultuous period for Jane Fonda, and one incident in particular at the Cleveland airport shook both her reputation and the public's perception of her. In a moment that became the center of national headlines, Jane was arrested after authorities discovered an astonishing 105 bottles, containing nearly 2,000 pills, in her luggage. For many, this shocking revelation immediately painted her as a controversial figure, and the media had a field day speculating about the contents of the bottles. However, as the truth unfolded, it became clear that the situation wasn't as scandalous as it initially seemed. The pills, which sparked the incident, were not illicit substances, but merely vitamins with legitimate prescriptions. Despite this, the immediate backlash was severe. Critics were quick to label her as a troublemaker, and the tabloids sensationalized the story, depicting Jane as a rebellious Hollywood star caught red-handed. Public reaction was deeply divided. Some fans were disillusioned, feeling that the incident tarnished the image of their beloved actress. Others, however, stood by her, waiting for the truth to emerge. Letters of support flooded in from loyal fans, many of whom believed Jane was being unfairly targeted because of her outspoken activism. The situation escalated further when Jane reportedly reacted to the arrest by kicking both a patrolman and a customs agent. This only added fuel to the media firestorm, with some outlets branding her as defiant and out of control. Yet as details of the incident surfaced, the narrative began to shift. It was revealed that a customs agent had chased Jane into a women's restroom, raising serious questions about the professionalism and appropriateness of the authorities involved. Once these details came to light, the charges against Jane were eventually dropped, and many began to view her as a victim of a gross overreaction by the system. The incident highlighted the polarizing nature of Jane Fonda's public image at the time. While some continued to criticize her actions, others applauded her courage in standing up for herself in the face of what they perceived as mistreatment. Fans flooded interviews and talk shows, defending her on social platforms and even organizing campaigns to clear her name. The media, which initially vilified her, began to offer more balanced coverage, with some outlets questioning whether Jane's activism made her an easy target for authorities seeking to discredit her. The Cleveland airport incident also became a cultural moment that further cemented Jane's reputation as a fearless figure willing to stand her ground. For some, it added to her mystique as an unapologetically bold and rebellious icon. Fans admired her resilience in navigating the storm of public scrutiny, and her willingness to address the situation openly won back many supporters. Even decades later, this chapter of her life is frequently revisited in documentaries and interviews as a testament to her ability to overcome controversy and emerge stronger. Marriages and relationships. When we talk about Jane Fonda's love life, it's a saga filled with glamour, heartbreak, and self-discovery. A journey that captivated not just the media but also fans worldwide. Over the years, her 3 high-profile marriages and the lessons they brought have become as iconic as her career, offering a glimpse into the personal evolution of a woman who was never afraid to live authentically. Each chapter of her romantic history carried its own set of challenges and triumphs, all of which were played out in the glaring spotlight of public attention. Her first marriage to French director Roger Vadim was straight out of a movie, glamorous, artistic, and, at least on the surface, enviable. Vadim, who had previously been involved with some of the most famous women of his time, introduced Jane to the sophisticated and bohemian world of European cinema. Together, they created one of her most iconic roles, Barbarella, a film that cemented her as a global sex symbol and turned her into a cultural phenomenon. Fans adored her bold portrayal of the intergalactic heroine, and the media couldn't get enough of the couple, labeling them a power duo of the 1960s. However, behind the dazzling red carpets and artistic collaborations, their marriage was turbulent. Vadim's well-documented indulgence in financial extravagance and infidelity created tensions that Jane couldn't ignore. Fans at the time sympathized with her, often expressing their disappointment in Vadim's actions. Letters poured in, with many urging Jane to prioritize her own happiness. Ultimately, the couple parted ways, and while the split marked the end of a glamorous era, it also signified the beginning of Jane's journey towards self-reliance. Just 3 days after finalizing her divorce from Vadim, Jane entered her second marriage with activist Tom Hayden. This relationship was a radical shift from her first, as Jane transitioned from the glamorous world of European cinema to the gritty, passionate world of political activism. The 1970s were a defining decade for her, both professionally and personally. With Hayden, she wasn't just a wife, she was a partner in activism. Together, they campaigned for social justice, opposed the Vietnam War, and worked tirelessly to make a difference. Fans who admired her for her activism applauded this union, seeing it as a perfect match of shared values and purpose. But the intense demands of their political work took a toll. Balancing family life, activism, and a high-profile marriage proved challenging. By the time their 17-year marriage ended, it was clear that the emotional sacrifices had been significant. Fans respected Jane's candor as she reflected on the complexities of this chapter in her life, with many praising her resilience in moving forward despite the difficulties. Her third marriage to CNN founder Ted Turner was perhaps the most surprising and unconventional of all. Turner, with his larger-than-life personality and relentless work ethic, brought a whirlwind of excitement into Jane's life. Their union captivated the media, with outlets dubbing them the billionaire and the Hollywood icon. Fans were intrigued by this pairing, often describing it as a fascinating contrast between two powerful yet very different personalities. Despite the initial excitement, their differing priorities eventually led to their split after a decade of marriage. Jane later admitted that this relationship helped her better understand herself, her boundaries, and what she truly wanted from life. Since her third divorce in 2001, Jane has embraced a new chapter, choosing to focus on her personal growth and fulfillment rather than seeking another lifelong commitment. Fans have celebrated her decision, with many describing her as an inspiration for living life on her own terms. Her openness about her relationships has resonated deeply with audiences, particularly women who see her journey as a testament to strength, independence, and the power of self-discovery. The media has consistently spotlighted Jane's love life, but her candid reflections have shifted the narrative. Rather than focusing solely on heartbreak, Jane has reframed her story as one of empowerment. Documentaries, interviews, and fan tributes continue to explore how these relationships shaped her not as a victim of circumstance, but as a woman who continuously evolved through each chapter. Social media is filled with fans praising her for her authenticity and courage, often using hashtags like Chapter Jane Fonda Inspires and Living Her Truth to celebrate her journey. Struggles with self-image. Jane Fonda's battle with poor self-image and self-confidence reveals a deeply personal struggle that resonates with millions of people worldwide. Beneath the glamorous exterior of one of Hollywood's most celebrated stars lay years of self-doubt and internal conflict. In candid interviews, Jane has opened up about how her insecurities were shaped by her relationship with her father, the iconic Henry Fonda. Though he was a man of immense talent and discipline, his emphasis on physical appearance left Jane feeling that her worth was tied to how perfect she looked. This subtle yet impactful messaging stayed with her for years, shaping the way she saw herself and her place in the world. During her teenage years, this pressure took a devastating toll. Jane developed bulimia, an eating disorder that haunted her well into her 30s. At a time when such struggles were not openly discussed, she was left to deal with the condition in silence, battling feelings of shame and inadequacy. Fans who later learned about this chapter in her life were deeply moved by her courage in sharing such a painful truth. Many took to social media to express their admiration, with one fan writing, "Hearing Jane Fonda talk about her struggles with bulimia made me realize I'm not alone. She's not just a star, she's human, just like the rest of us." Her early years in the modeling industry only intensified these struggles. Thrust into a world that prioritized beauty above all else, Jane became hyper-aware of her physical appearance, constantly measuring herself against an unattainable ideal. Despite being celebrated for her looks, she felt the pressures of the industry chipping away at her self-worth. This relentless focus on appearance created a vicious cycle, exacerbating her eating disorder and leaving her feeling trapped. Fans have reflected on how this part of her story mirrors the pressures faced by women today, particularly in the age of social media, where unrealistic beauty standards continue to dominate. Media coverage of Jane's revelations has sparked widespread conversations about the damaging effects of societal pressures on self-esteem. Documentaries and interviews exploring her life have delved into this struggle, highlighting her bravery in speaking out. News outlets praised her for breaking the stigma around eating disorders, with one journalist remarking, "Jane Fonda's honesty about her personal struggles has turned her into a beacon of hope for countless individuals battling similar issues." Social media has also played a significant role in amplifying her message, with fans creating hashtags like Jane Fonda Inspires and Breaking the Silence to spread awareness and encourage dialogue. Jane's story has become a rallying cry for self-acceptance and mental health awareness. Her openness has inspired many fans to share their own struggles with self-image, with countless comments and posts thanking her for being a role model. One young fan shared, "Jane Fonda taught me that no matter how successful or beautiful someone may seem, everyone has their own battles. Her strength gives me hope to face mine." Over the years, Jane has reflected on how she overcame these struggles. She credits therapy and her passion for activism as transformative forces in her life. By channeling her energy into causes she cared deeply about, she found a sense of purpose that went beyond physical appearance. Her shift from focusing on external validation to internal growth was a turning point, and she has since used her platform to advocate for body positivity and mental health awareness. Later, life and return to acting. In 2001, Jane Fonda took a step that surprised fans and the entertainment industry alike. She embraced Christianity and announced her retirement from acting. After decades as a Hollywood icon, an outspoken activist, and a cultural phenomenon, she decided to step away from the spotlight. This move marked a turning point in her life, one that reflected her desire for introspection and spiritual growth. For many, this decision came as a shock. Why would someone at the height of their influence and with such a storied career choose to leave it all behind? Yet for Jane, it was a natural progression in her journey toward self-discovery. Her announcement sent ripples through the media. Headlines buzzed with speculation about what prompted this decision, with some suggesting it was a way for Jane to find peace after years of living in the public eye. Fans had mixed reactions. Some expressed sadness at the thought of her leaving the big screen, with social media posts reminiscing about her iconic performances in films like Clute and On Golden Pond. Others applauded her courage to step back and focus on her personal life, saying it demonstrated the authenticity that made her so beloved. One fan wrote, "Jane Fonda has always been bold, whether it's speaking her mind or walking away when she feels it's time. That's why we love her." But in true Jane Fonda fashion, retirement didn't last long. In 2005, she made a dazzling comeback with the romantic comedy Monster-in-Law, where she starred alongside Jennifer Lopez. Fans were overjoyed to see her return to the screen, and the media buzz surrounding her comeback was electric. Entertainment Tonight dubbed her return a Hollywood homecoming, while social media exploded with excitement. Many viewers praised her comedic timing in the film, with one comment summing it up perfectly. "Only Jane Fonda could take a few years off and still steal every scene she's in, like she never left." The film was a box office success, proving that even after a hiatus, Jane's star power was as strong as ever. However, her return to acting was only part of her story that year. In 2005, she released her autobiography, My Life So Far, a deeply personal and unflinchingly honest account of her journey. Fans and critics alike were captivated by her vulnerability as she delved into topics like her struggles with self-image, her marriages, her activism, and her spiritual awakening. The book became an instant bestseller, sparking conversations about the challenges of balancing personal growth with public expectations. Critics praised her for peeling back the layers of her life, with one review stating, "Fonda's autobiography isn't just a memoir, it's a blueprint for resilience and reinvention." Readers flooded online forums and bookstores to share how her story resonated with their own lives, calling her an inspiration for embracing authenticity at any stage of life. Today, Jane Fonda resides in Atlanta, Georgia, far from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. But while her zip code has changed, her influence remains as strong as ever. Whether it's through her environmental activism, her candid interviews, or her continued presence in film and television, Jane remains a larger-than-life figure. Her ability to balance a quiet personal life with a bold public presence is part of what makes her so unique. Fans often say she is the ultimate example of how to age with grace, curiosity, and purpose. The media has not stopped celebrating her remarkable journey. From magazine profiles to documentaries, Jane's life continues to inspire countless fans and creatives. Social media is filled with tributes to her resilience, with hashtags like Jane Fonda Forever and Her Living, Her Truth trending regularly. Younger generations see her as a role model, not just for her achievements, but for her willingness to evolve, embrace change, and speak openly about her struggles and triumphs. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Jane Fonda, a woman whose story transcends the glitz of Hollywood to reveal a figure of unwavering courage and determination. From the struggles of her early years to her fearless activism and celebrated career, Fonda's legacy is one of reinvention and resilience. If you've enjoyed learning about this incredible icon, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the lives of legends. Until next time, stay inspired and keep celebrating stories that shape our world.